Good morning. I want to go deeper into a post I just did, which has gotten a lot of shares, a lot of comments. I picked up a lot of energy. I saw a lot of things happening as soon as I made this post, so I want to get into it. So I'm going to help you understand exactly what I was talking about when I talked about how healers tend to experience astrological shifts ahead of the collective. I want to talk about who it applies to and why this one is particularly harmful, or I don't want to say harmful in a way that's dangerous, but it is not beneficial for you to take this on if it doesn't apply to you. So I watched this get misconstrued. I watched people take this message on personally. I watched people make connections that are incorrect. And I don't want you to make incorrect corrections for your sake, because I want you to grow. I want you to get the growth. So if you take this piece on in an incorrect way, you're going to miss out on synchronicities and patterns that are actually relevant to you because you took this message on. And as you do one thing, as you do everything. So I thought that this was a really good opportunity to use, not just actually give you super good clarity on this post, but to really talk about something I see in the collective, especially with women. I never see this with men. Almost never do I see this with men. But I do see this with women a lot. Not saying it doesn't happen with men, but men tend to ask questions, or men tend to have a better time putting things into context than women do. Women tend to create their own context a lot. Okay, so I want to use this opportunity to talk about some things, because this post, when I post, the things that I can see after I post about the way people are understanding it, interpreting it, misinterpreting it, what the gaps are, what's missing, what I need to fill in next, who it's for, who it's not for, how people are taking it on as their aspirational identity, but it actually has nothing to do with where they actually are. As you do one thing, as you do everything. These are things that I can see when I drop a message. Now, this is a key for you if you're a channel. If you are a channel, if you are a messenger in any way, if you're an intuitive, if you deliver messages to people in any way, you have to learn how to separate. And this might be harder for some of you because we're all multifaceted. So you might be a channel and a teacher. So it's really difficult for you to let a message be a message because you're also a teacher. And you're like, and it really might come up and be really sticky for you and really hard for you to disconnect and detach and let people be sovereign and be free and be where they are and do what they want with the message. There's really nothing you can do about somebody taking on a message that's theirs, somebody misinterpreting it and putting their own context on it, and somebody hearing what they want to hear. One of the superpowers about your brain is that it always seeks for evidence of what it believes. What's wonderful about this is that that's alignment with the fact that beliefs create your reality. So if you decide to seek for evidence of that which you desire to believe, you will find it if you do so earnestly. The problem with that is if you are somebody who is used to getting affirmations and you think that that's growth, then you are just going to constantly find affirmations of whatever misapplied, misconstrued, distorted ideas you have about what you're supposed to be doing or what your purpose is. This is why when you join my spaces, the first thing we fucking do is we take a bird's eye view of the next 5 years of your life, your desires, your vision. We break it down. Why? It's not because it's not about relating to those goals, but especially women tend to be pretty aimless. Tend to just kind of land in a place in their consciousness and go, I wonder what that is. I should really dig into that. I'm going to process it. How is that relevant to you right now? Your consciousness is infinite. It's a universe wide. You could walk into any space in your consciousness and yes, you could find beliefs and you could find fears there and you could pick them about. It's not actually going to help you from where you are right now. The only thing that's going to help you where you are right now are the beliefs and the things that come up while you are taking action, which is one of universal laws, ones that women tend to want to skip. Not with rituals, not while you're laying in bed. When you are taking the action, that is when the relevant beliefs and fears and judgments that need to be addressed will come up, and you address them then. One of my first mentors used to tell me constantly, and it used to hurt my feelings. I used to have to turn in my intimate journalings to her every single day. I was required to do different meditations every single day, really, really deep, different DNA, shamanic stuff, unpacking stuff, whatever. Lots of different things. I had to do it every day. I had to track my hours. I had to take notes a certain way, and I had to turn them into her. And she would constantly look at my notes, my journals, and be like, so what? So what? She'd just write that shit in red. So what? So what? So what? I think I remember a past life. So fucking what? How is that relevant to right fucking now? Okay, so going back to the message, I'm just going to read the post. So this post, which I said, healers tend to experience astrological shifts ahead of time in preparation to be proper space holders for their people. If you're feeling better than you have in months at this moment, even though everyone else seems to be really going through it, that is why. If you constantly feel like you are initiated into the things just ahead of the collective consciousness channel, the channel of collective consciousness that you are tuned into, that is why. This isn't the same thing as trying to learn something or learn something fast and teach. We are talking about healing, not teaching, not something that you know and discovered and you're going to share with people. That's not what we're talking about. This is about healing. This is about things that need to be healed, period. This is what this message is about. Experience and facilitation. So I drop a lot of out of context messages. Sometimes I drop messages that I have no idea who it's for. That's the nature of messages. Sometimes messages are purposely put out of context so that they can be for multiple people in different context. It's not my business. My business is just to deliver the message when it's my business to deliver the message. This is easily my top 3 post ever of misconstrued posts that got totally missed and taken on by people that this doesn't apply to, or it got taken on incorrectly, which is why I wanted to come in and talk about it. So let's find out if the message was actually for you. First of all, what I am referring to, let's talk about the time frame, what just ahead means. So just ahead would mean days, weeks, or top 90 days. We're just going to put a time limit on it. And that's like for bigger shifts, right? Because we got to go through bigger shifts that take longer. Let's say there's a specific transit going on, right? Or we might go through, like, our Saturn return. That's something that lasts 2 years. That's usually a very, very heavy unpacking. That's usually when people experience their dark night of the soul, come into a more serious communion with God, as long as they get through it and create that bond and become really anchored in exactly what they want their life to look like. They start taking their life seriously and they start worrying about existential questions, right? So that's a 2-year period, and then you might just have a full moon, right? And you're going to have that experience for a day. So it depends on what the shift is. So the first misconstrued thing I saw was people like, oh yeah, I'm constantly going through something, and the collective's going through it later. The first question to ask is, are you a healer? And what does a healer mean? Because a lot of people are like, oh, I think I'm a healer, and my path number, tells me that I'm a healer. Or I got a reading once when I was 22 and my horoscope told me I was a healer. If you are not actively showing up, taking action, answering the call, and so answering the call means obeying the call and doing the work and showing up in your life as that to people you are regularly in service to. If you do not have a community of people you are actively in service to, this doesn't apply to you. Period, point blank. First and foremost. So that's the first thing I saw was just people, whoa. I went and looked at the shares and I just was like, whoa. People were taking this on a lot. The second thing that I saw I could literally see that people were applying this to their personal stuff, because yes, there is collective. There is a collective, there are collective astral energies, but you always have your individual things, and you have initiations that have nothing to do with astral energies. They have to do with your purpose, your calling. They have to do with what you invoked based off of your free will and based off of the decisions that you made, based off of the karma that you invoked, based off of the dharma that you're in the middle of delivering. You are in the middle of a lot of different cycles, a lot of different patterns, a lot of different up-levelings. based off of whatever prayers you're doing with your ancestors, based off of whatever prayers were done with your bloodline by ancestors before you, because everybody here has ancestors that literally fucking bonded you by blood with some fucking entity or deity. Whether they call it an angel, an archangel, or an actual deity, or an actual demon, depending on the religious or culture, probably multiples, because you got a lot of blood in you. So, I don't want you to confuse this for meaning, because here's the next thing that I heard and saw. And there's a reason why. And by the way, guys, I studied astrology with a mentor for 3 years. I studied whole sign astrology. So I wasn't just interested in it and got some books and copied and pasted. I fucking was a student of astrology for 3 years. I've done a lot. And what I have and so the reason that I don't speak on astrology is it's too much to get. I would need multiple Katies to spend time correcting all of the misconceptions that happen in the new age westernized astrology world, because there's so much distortion and so much projection and so much ego stuff and so many things that have been taken out of context, oversimplified, misapplied, so many separate cultural traditions and languages that have been melded into one fucking mess. In addition to every planet being projected at every planet being treated as if it's a projection of you. Every planet is not you on your chart. So the next thing I saw was people adding this message into whatever random readings or whatever things about astrology that they picked up because of some vague astrologer giving you vague information about a transit. So I saw a lot of people going, oh yeah, I go through from transformation. Everybody's going through transformation. Oh, I saw that some people were dealing with whatever, fear of success. I already dealt through that. No. Don't apply some random collective things that happen to maybe use the same words of what you define of something that happened to you a year ago as meaning that you're ahead. And here's the next thing that I saw. The majority of people took this, and that's not a surprise, because a lot of people who are seeking their psychic development or wanting psychic gifts are wanting to be special. And they want to prove that they're better than other people. They're waiting to feel chosen. So instead of realizing that everybody's psychic and everybody's special, I know lately I've seen a lot of people, the message in the collective saying nobody's special, and I love it, and it's true. I like to go with the everybody's special, therefore it's a paradox. You're not special because everybody's special. Meaning you're special, you're unique, you're singular unique, you have a unique soul language, you have a unique genius, you have a unique contribution, but everybody's fucking psychic. Everybody has a unique contribution. Everybody is a slice of God. Everybody's using the same universal law. I have signature teachings and stuff. They're just the way that I decided to format and deliver ancient universal law that was created before any of us incarnated. So yes, you're special, and congratulations. You're special just like everybody else in the world. You're not chosen or above. Sorry, you're not here to save a bunch of other people on the planet. You're not anybody's savior. And by the way, your soul is relieved by that. So, don't get it twisted. You're absolutely unique. And there is something just absolutely insanely brilliant about you. And there's something insanely brilliant about the person next to you as well. And both can exist, and you're not less special. And you're not less good. Or whatever. So the next thing that I saw was people taking this messages on as, ooh, I'm ahead of people. I'm ahead in my evolution. I'm just always evolving ahead of people. I've just already completed things. I'm already at level 10 and everybody else is at level 8. That's not what this is. This is literally pieces of those healings that need to be moved through your body so that you are a clear space holder for other people who are about to go through that. Because healing is very experiential. So we have to have experience with that thing in order to hold compassionate space with people. Doesn't mean that we literally need to go through the exact same thing, but healers do typically experience heavily traumatic experiences throughout their life. in preparation to heal others. We experience lots of different initiations that help us remember to heal ourselves so that we remember that we came here to heal. So, you might be a healer, but you haven't been obeying your call. If you haven't been obeying your call, then you're not experiencing shifts ahead of everybody else. So that's the other thing. Are you a healer at all? Do you have a ministry? Are you obeying the call and taking action? Are there people you are delivering healing to? Not I have a certification, or, ooh, friends just tell me and they just come to me people just come to me all the time for whatever. That doesn't make you a healer. So this message doesn't apply to you. Now this was a good example. This brought in a lot of good topics. I never plan anything. And I really want you to take into account here how easy it is, because this is human. I get told what a good student I am and always have been, which makes sense because honestly, it's literally my personality and all over my chart. I definitely like gold stars, and I like to be told that I know how to follow a process and follow instructions. Gift and a curse in me, personality wise. And even, and that doesn't, you're still going to have shadow. You're going to have distortions. There's going to be something that you miss in things. There's going to be something that you need corrected. There's something that you misapplied. There's something that you made assumptions about that you didn't ask follow-up questions to, what's fun about this message is I never know. I'm so obedient to my message. And now that I've had experience from being obedient with my message, I just love how fun alignment is. Because sometimes I am only delivered one message in order to see people respond to it. And then the bigger download comes in. And then I'm like, oh, that first message was nothing. I was told to deliver that thing or say that thing in that way so that I could see what happened in people's energetics, whatever. And then that's the thing that I'm supposed to be teaching on, or that was the key that I needed, or that was some information that I needed. I've even had courses I was told to come out with and announce, where the only purpose was to announce it and then see that my people either weren't ready for it, or that there was 18 gaps, or that I wasn't ready for it. I just want you guys to know that as luminous as I am using a filter today, but I'll take all the compliments. It's a light filter. But isn't my nails so pretty? I love my nails, and I just got this snake earring. It's so fun. Well, now that I found a good nail tech, it's on and popping this year. It's on and popping. Okay, so ask questions before you take on a message. First, ask if this is relevant to you. And if you don't know, ask questions. And if it doesn't apply to you, that's okay. You don't need to argue about it and tell us what the truth is in your world, by the way. That's why I have my rules of engagement. It's been really interesting. I purposely left my rules of engagement off my new profile so I could look at the difference in energetics. And even people who knew my rules on my old profile are coming to my new profile acting a fucking fool. Like they don't know what time it is. It's very fascinating, right? Because everything I do has magic. I'm never just speaking a thing, right? I've been doing my rules of engagement since 2019. So 2019, a few times a year I would do it, and of course it's evolved and gotten deeper. Each post I do, to match my transformation and where I am. Though I would say it's pretty much stayed stable the last year or two. Sorry, my friend is opening boxes. Hi, Sandra. I'm going to get back to your message, I promise. Hello, everybody. Thanks for watching on this Saturday. Okay. So, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And taking one message on like this could literally cause you to miss important revelations and like so many important revelations and patterns that you're supposed to get. And that reminds me of something as well, because I regularly do sessions. I started out as a tarot reader I started off with Reiki back in 2013, doing tarot readings and Reiki online. And I just received a bunch of different things, so I'm deciding which direction I want to go. So people regularly come to me, and they come to me with other people's readers and psychic informations. Pretty regularly, when somebody sits in front of me, no matter how awesome they are, they basically tell me about what other people told them about themselves that they've been carrying for anywhere from 3 months to 10 years to 20 years. So they got one message from one psychic or astrological reader or coach or whatever they got it from 10 years ago, and they took that on as part of their identity. And it either wasn't correct in the first place, or it was correct, but they misapplied it and distorted it, or it was correct, but it was seasonal. And that thing has long since expired and it's no longer relevant, but they've been hanging on to it as a part of a string, as part of their information or whatever, and comparing all other information they get because 10 years ago somebody told them that they're supposed to become a motivational speaker or whatever. Not I want it, not I'm having dreams and visions. Somebody else told me this one time about my purpose when I got a reading, that this is what I'm supposed to do. And so regularly women will come to me in sessions with a bunch of pieces of things wanting me to speak on. And it's like, I don't speak on other psychics stuff. I don't even speak on the past. But I regularly, almost 100% of times, see women whose the entire content of their mind that's regularly running on loops, their thoughts about themselves, their thoughts about who they are, their thoughts about who that they're supposed to be doing, are based off of a bunch of random little pieces and readings and whatnot collected like a little amalgam of just random ass shit that other people told them that they are. And they're still carrying it around with them, trying to make it make sense, hoping that that will tell them what to do. Hoping somebody will tell them who they are. And then they bring me those pieces and say, can you put that together, and then can you affirm who I am and tell me who I am? Coco Diamond says, I'm going to ask more questions because some messages might apply to me that I'm missing. Abso-fucking-lutely. The quickest way to better discernment is shadow work and taking radical responsibility for your reality. Radical responsibility for every word that you hear. Radical responsibility for why you are there listening to that word in the first place. Here's the thing. You guys are walking around looking for affirmations everywhere. Are you even supposed to be there? Is where you're spending time with right now and who you are talking to and the tribe that you're around, are they capable of affirming where you're supposed to be? Is that where your ass is supposed to be right now? Or have you been disobedient for so long and playing it small for so long and being comfortable for so long, hanging around with people with shitty fucking standards who treat you like fucking shit, don't want anything to do, they don't got nothing about their future. They've been talking to you about the same business plan for 5 fucking years, the same book that they're almost done writing, the same house that they're about to buy, the same fucking oracle cards, same fucking affirmations that they were doing last year, and how everything's about to fucking come true, while they hand you a shot of fucking tequila and tell you that you're working too hard, criticizing every fucking business plan and every move you might make because it's too late and the trend is too late because they know better than people who are already where the fuck you want to go. Because if that's who you're hanging around, then none of that shit's affirmational. That's why I say to you, why we've been talking about inspirational versus reactional, being inspired versus being reactionary so much. Because a big part of that is being where the fuck you're supposed to be in the first place. Which takes me back to the fact that sometimes I'm only given a message just to see your reaction to it. Right? But for me to be able to be that tuned in, that means I have to be so obedient that I turn left instead of go right on my way to the coffee shop. And if I feel that I need to get a donut, even if I'm not going to eat it, then I will do it. And I have done that. If that's what it takes to be around the right frequency, to get the right thought or observe the right thing or be in the right place at the right time for one of God's messengers to give me the message, then that's what the fuck I do. But you guys are only obedient when it makes logical sense to you, and that's why we keep saying that we don't talk about logic here. There's a time and a place for logic. And being obedient to the mysterious alignment things, that's not the time. Because you have to take that first step in the dark for the next step to be revealed. And you have to be careful when you're making assumptions about the first instruction that you got. And I still do this. Thanks, guys. Thank you. I love my nails too. No matter how evolved you get, no matter how much mastery you get to, you're always going to have to move in the dark. That's never going to change. You're always going to have to take the first step in order for the next step to be revealed. And sometimes you might get 10 steps might be revealed, but you still have to take the first step. But you're so busy waiting for God to be logical and reasonable and talk to you in the way that you think God needs to talk to you, as if God is limited. God can come to you in a thought. God can come to you from a street sign. God can come to you from the homeless guy on the street. God isn't limited. God's going to show up everywhere. Assume that everything and everywhere is a response to your last question. And this is something that I just talked about with my clients, but you have complete free will. So a big part of why you're confused is not only do you have a debt of actions that have expired, and so you're like, I don't know what action to take. I'm overwhelmed. Well, most of those actions aren't relevant anymore because you've moved and the world has moved on and you were disobedient. Number one. So half of those instructions are relevant. Number two, which is why before I just told you, there's one reason why I always require my clients, as soon as they come into my space, we take a bird's eye view for 5 years, 3 years, 1 year, 1 month, and 1 day, so that you actually know what intuitive action to follow, because you have free will. So if you thought yesterday that you want to be a scientist and you thought today you want to be an artist, well, you're going to start getting clues for how to do both of them. So if you're not focused on what your vision is, if you do not know how to stay focused on your desires, on your goals, on what is yours to do, then yeah, you're going to get a lot of confusing actions where you're like, I don't know which action to take. Well, of course not. Because you told God you wanted to do 18 different things and be 18 different people in 18 different directions. So you're getting 18 different signs with 18 different patterns and synchronicities for you to follow one of 18 pathways that you keep waffling back and forth on, depending on the day of your cycle or where the moon is in the sky. I love you. So, my question, based off of how you interpreted that last message, is, I don't even know what astral information you're going off of that's causing you to make assumptions that what you're experiencing is even related to an astral shift. And frankly, if you don't know, then the message probably doesn't apply to you. Because you don't know, if you don't even have people that you're noticing, because if you're a healer, if you're already showing up and you're already ministering to people, then just because of the way attraction works, all of your people are going through the same thing all the time. So, it's like I've had up to, I always do groups. So let's say between groups and one-on-ones, I've had, maybe I'm ministering to 40 women at a time. But yet I might say the same fucking thing for a month on every one-on-one session in every reading for 2 weeks. And that doesn't surprise me because law of attraction, because attraction is attraction, because my people are my people. They're not the collective. They're not representative of the world. They're representative of the people that I'm called to serve. So it makes sense that I find myself saying the same message 4 times in one day and 20 times in 3 weeks, and in slightly different ways, depending on the context of what's happening. So if you're not already connected or tuned into a group where you're already noticing those type of patterns, and you're noticing the patterns that they're going through, and you're noticing the mirror work of, oh wow, I'm working on this at a bigger level as a healer, then that message probably doesn't apply to you. Here's the next thing that is coming through that really needs to be said. You need to understand what you're invoking as a channel, because whatever you channel for somebody else, you will invoke at least a level of that message or that instruction into your own life. That's why you need to make sure that you're only talking to your people, which is why you really want to make sure that you're tuned into your voice and your God and not constantly reacting to other people and their messages and their opinions and what you think is wrong about it. So you have to be very, very careful about your disobedience as soon as you start being a channel, because the consequence is deeper and it's faster. So if you're not ready to handle speedy manifestation, including speedy consequence for what you speak into other people and what you tell them to do, stop speaking on it. And by the way, as a healer, you keep saying you want to heal people, and then you're wondering, so there's 3 layers to this while we're at it. At the beginning, when you're a healer journey, like you want to heal people, and then you start attracting sick people, and then you make that about you, and you're like, oh, there's something wrong with me, I'm only attracting sick people. No, you said you wanted to be a healer. That's pretty fucking vague, isn't it? So don't be surprised that you've got people with mental health issues, addictions, and other fucking trauma, PTSD, you name it, people on disability, people who are broke. Don't be surprised that those people are in your inbox because you keep saying and calling and claiming to the universe and God and everybody that will listen that you're a healer. And that's okay, because the first step is, I think I'm a healer. Now you need to get clear and you need to keep going. But stop making that mean that there's something wrong with you, or there's something wrong with that, like you're a bad person or you're not evolved enough because you keep attracting la la la. No, you invoked that by claiming or declaring that you're a healer. So you basically consented and decided and called in like a beacon a bunch of sick people that need healing. That's not because it's a burden, and that's not because you're a narcissist magnet, and just being an empath just means that people want to take from you. None of that's true. It's just the responsibility and the reality of what you called into your fucking life by saying, I'm a healer. I'm trying to decide if I want to go to the next 2 phases of this. So the next phase, we'll just go to what other phase. So then the next phase then is you're like, oh, you have your ahas, and you're like, this is who I meant to help, and this is who I meant to serve. Then you start to have these breakdowns, and a lot of you guys take those breakdowns or a lot of those life lessons as a sign that you're not ready, but those experiences are actually here to get you ready. Initiations are about developing your character, so that your character and your state of being can actually hold and sustain what it is that you've decided that you are, or you're going to do, or be in service to, who you're going to be in service to, what you're going to do, what you're going to create, whether it's wealth, whatever. The experiences that you create, be careful of the stories you tell about them. Just because they're unpleasant or they're undesirable doesn't, if you start to tell the story that means that you're a failure, or that means that you're not ready, you're really missing out on the fact that these experiences are showing up in order to build your character, because you attract through being, and you attract through who you are, not what you do. And by the way, that's why a lot of you, and one of you guys brought this in recently, and this is something I used to talk about a lot when I used to like focus on this type of manifestation, but that's why for a lot of you guys, manifestation is a job. Rituals work, affirmations work, prayer works, magic works. You can call in all sorts of fucking deities that are bored and want to help you out. Maybe not bored, but they want to help you out. But it's a temporary band-aid that you're going to have to keep doing. Manifestation is going to be a full-time job because your being can't sustain it. It can't contain it. You can cast a love spell. You can get the dream man in your life. You're not going to keep him, though. Because you're not being who you need to be in order to live that life and have that person. And to get that person to stay. Okay, well, I didn't know I was going to talk about any of that. So, I feel like that's enough for now. My goal is to keep this 20 minutes or less. So, stop taking on messages that don't apply to you. You're going to hurt yourself. And honestly, while I'm still rambling, I really don't trust I'm just going to say it, I don't trust like 98% of astrological stuff out there or people. I'm even considering requiring my clients not to read a single horoscope when they come into my space for a minimum of 3 months. Especially because women are impressionable and we're sponges and we take stuff on so fast. Most of you guys come to me in order to be more self-sourced, more confident, and eradicate all of the critical voices in your head. And to stand in your boundaries and standards. So stop reading a bunch of voices and a bunch of messages. You don't need 18 affirmations. You need more action. You haven't even finished applying the last message that you got. And thinking about it is not implying it. Thinking about it isn't even engaging it or, thinking about it isn't even applying it in any way that can even change your mind, honestly. Even thinking about something doesn't actually change your mind. That's not applying it in your mind in a way that actually changes the way that you think and the way that you operate and the way that you take action. You don't need 18,000 messages. Go read the message that you got last week again. You should listen to it every day. You read one excerpt from somebody and it blew your mind. You should be reading that 3 times a day. Save it. Read it in the morning. Make it your prayer. Print it out. Put it on your altar. Study every word. Look up the etymology of the word. Approach it like it's new tomorrow. See what else is there that you missed. Where did you misconstrue it? Where did you misapply it? Where did you miss it? What does it look like if you'd apply it in this other area, in this other life area? Turn it around. Turn it upside down. Ladies, grab your mala beads to pick up your favorite sentence from that one excerpt. And then hold each bead and repeat that like a fucking prayer 108 times. Then wear that mantra on your fucking neck. And stay present with that message all day until it changes you. You do not need 18,000 fucking messages. You need to go deep and learn how to get engaged and learn how to properly be present with and to properly receive and apply and implement and chew and be changed by that which you have already received. If it doesn't change the way that you take action, it doesn't change your life. Okay, now I'm done. And get going. You already know what's yours to do. Bye.